I was talking to Ariel Helwani earlier today, and I was asking him his opinion or if he had any insight on where Jon Jones stood with his defiant stance against the UFC. Was there negotiation happening? Is there talk happening? Are we getting any closer? And Ariel said, no, I don't have any story on that. He said, but as I do look at the calendar for the remaining months in this year, I don't know that I see a clear spot for Jon. And Ariel laid out there, he left it at that, went back to what we were doing, but I reflected on that conversation. Well, that's a really good point by Ariel. That is a very good point. Look, Jon Jones is going to fight on a pay-per-view. Okay, great. There's a pay-per-view a month for every month left within the year. So when you start to look at the pay-per-views and the matches that we know are coming up, July is spoken for. August has the heavyweight trilogy, Stipe Cormier. September, we're going to do Khabib versus Gaethje. As you move through the year, which only leaves you with October, November, and December, one of those months is going to be Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. As you start to look at it, you go, yeah, this is a tough spot. Particularly when there's one match for Jon Jones that gets him even what he's used to making, let alone happier with what he's going to make. That's Reyes, which appears to be the one match that he doesn't want to do. At some point, Ngannou's going to come back and do something big and special. And when you do look at the order of events, as far as your motivation, so I'm talking about drawability, business-wise, of the three guys that are holding out right now between Conor McGregor, George Masvidal, Jon Jones, Jon would be the low man on the totem pole. So Jon could not expect his phone to ring until Masvidal's rings and until Conor's rings. Until those guys get set, Jon's not even going to be on the list. And that's with if he's willing to fight Reyes. You have two guys that have a mega fight coming up in Costa, in Adesanya. They don't have a date signed, and they've already agreed to it. They want to do it sooner, the better. So if you are in Jon's spot, and, not only it's not just, okay, I agree to this, you agree to this, you then have logistics. For example, if Jones and the UFC came to terms right now, let's do it right now. We're all good here. To show you I'm good, let's just do it right now. That's not how it works. There are no fights today. There is no octagon set up. There is no commission present. There is no distribution. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? The date really does matter. I think that Ariel did bring up a very good point to say, well, if you're going to use, where are you going to use them within this year? This seems like tomorrow's problem. So I reflect back on that. I am starting to see what he means, and I do think that that would be a fair way to look at it, particularly when you do have so much activity by so many athletes right now who are already in agreement but still don't have dates. Who are already saying, yeah, I'm in. I'm one of the guys, I get how a deal works. I honor my deals. Give me a date. It does seem like that thing is going to get delayed. And the more you dig your heels into something, the more obvious it is you just simply don't want to do it. And I don't fault somebody for that. You're looking at a guy. You reach that point in your career, you just don't want to do it. And you can give multiple reasons to try to skirt the idea. I'm done. Just don't want to do that. But you will look at so many athletes who do believe that they are in this very special spot, not only because of their drawability, which is very real. That's a very great argument to argue what your worth is. How much do you bring in? Percentage of that. Okay, great. We all understand that concept. But you could also argue how good you are at something, which is also always the wrong argument, but it's still an argument that you're going to have to deal with because guys won't quit bringing it up. And as good as some of those athletes are, they're not as good as Floyd. I don't remember the last time I heard anybody talk about Floyd. There's no boxing event scheduled anywhere in the world that's got Floyd on it, but boxing's doing just fine and arenas are still filling up. The ratings are still there. People are still tuning in. People say there's never been a basketball player as good as Jordan. I don't remember seeing a game anywhere with anybody regardless of the participants. I just don't remember seeing it. Where the arena wasn't full and the ratings did great. The sponsors were there. The championship was still held. I don't know if I've ever seen an athlete as great as Simone. Any gender, any sport, any way you want to do it. I believe Simone Biles to be the greatest athlete ever born. With or without her, they're going to be putting medals around people's neck, and it seems as though something where you do have to know which side of the bread is buttered. Are you steering the ship? Does the ship even care if you're on it? These are questions for you to ask yourself. I know the answers to them. I enjoy watching Conor very much, just by example. I got to see Conor one time in the last 2 years. My appreciation of the sport hasn't gone down one bit. I would prefer to see Conor. That's what you're asking me. But when Conor fights, the event costs the same amount of money. The rules are the same. Duration of entertainment I'm going to get on said day is the same. I might enjoy it a little bit more. I like ice cream if it has caramel on top of it. I like ice cream if it doesn't.